Well, the second full week of district play is in the books. We have 8 district games to go over, plus the 2 games that involve district teams against the Rend Lake Warriors. With all that being said, 10 games covers a lot. Let's go ahead and jump into the first game starting right now. And that first game is going to be Olney Central against Shawnee. Olney bounced back from their loss against Southeastern with a big road win against Shawnee, 85-78. The Blue Knights were led by Damian Walkup and Jacoby Thompson, who combined for 53 points. Walkup had 29 points, while both players were 9 of 11 from the foul line. JT Thomas and Darian Luce added 10 points each. The Saints were led by Ledricus Pittman, who scored 24 while going 6 of 17 from the field and making all 8 free throws. The other Saints in double figures were Miles Lemon, who went 6 of 11 from the field, and Keshawn Washington, who had added 10 off of a 3 for 6 shooting night. Like their game against Olney, Lincoln only trailed by 4 at the half against Logan, but the defending national champs rallied in the second half and won big, 84-63. The Statesmen were led by Caden Huntenlocker, who scored 12 points off of a 3 for 9 shooting night, adding 6 rebounds and 5 assists, while Shea Alouier went 6 of 12 from the field and added 15 points. 4 different Vols were in double figures, led by Julian Norris, who had 16 points off of a 5 for 7 shooting night from the field and 4 of 5 from behind the arc. Isaac James and Jordan Logan had 13 points each, with James going 6 of 7 from the field and having 8 rebounds, while Logan went 5 of 6 from the field and he added 5 rebounds. The last Vol in double figures was Elliot Londas, who went 4 of 7 from the field and had 6 rebounds and 4 block shots, finishing with 10 points. Nope. Like their game against Olney, Lincoln only trailed by 4 at the half against Logan, but the defending national champs rallied in the second half and won big, 84-63. The Statesmen were led by Caden Huntenlocker, who scored 12 points off of a 3 for 9 shooting night. He had 6 rebounds and 5 assists, as Shea Alouier went 6 of 12 from the field, adding 15 points. 4 different Vols were in double figures, with Julian Norris, who had 16 points off of a 5 for 7 shooting night from the field and 4 of 5 from behind the arc. Isaac James and Jordan Logan added 13 points apiece, with James going 6 of 7 from the field, adding 8 rebounds, while Logan was 5 of 6 from the field and had 5 rebounds himself. The last Vol in double figures was Elliot Londas. He went 4 of 7 from the field, had 6 rebounds and 4 block shots, finishing with 10 points. The Blue Devils traveled to Belleville to take on SWIC, but fell 80-77. Will Vesser was 7-11 from the field and 7 of 10 from the foul line, with 4 assists and 4 rebounds and 3 steals, finishing with 25 points. Lionel Hodges scored 13, going 6 of 9 from the field and adding 5 rebounds. Caleb Jenkins finished with 11 rebounds and 11 points and 2 blocks, while Eric Price finished 5 of 6 from the field and finishing with 10 points. The Blue Storm had all 5 players in double figures, led by Nazir Leonard, who had 25 points, going 7 of 12 from the field and 4 of 5 from 3. Saxon Hopkeeper led the way with 9 rebounds and 3 steals, adding 16 points, while Jacoby Huddleston and Nazir McKeem and Dallas Rufus all had 10 points. Huddleston added 12 rebounds, and Rufus had 4 rebounds and 2 steals. The number 4 Trailblazers traveled to Mattoon to take on the host Lakers of Lakeland, and they won 90-67. Chris King went 9 of 17 from the field and had 5 rebounds, 3 assists, and 3 steals, finishing with 20 points. Ryan Oliver and LeBron Thomas finished with 19 points apiece. Thomas went 9 of 11 from the foul line and 4 of 8 from the field, while adding 5 rebounds and 5 assists. Oliver, on the other hand, was 5-11 from the field and had 7 assists and 6 rebounds. Victor Lado was the last Blazer in double figures with 10 points. He went 4 of 6 from the field and added 7 rebounds. Aaron Davis led the way for the Lakers with 21 points off of a 7 for 12 shooting night. Sean Dukovich went 7 of 11 from the field and had 19 points, while Ahmad Roberts went 4 of 6 from the field and 2 of 3 from behind the arc, finishing with 12. The host Lakers lost the rebounding battle 47-21 and the turnover battle to the Trailblazers 16-12. Vincennes also doubled up the Lakers' assist at 21-10. And the last Wednesday night game was the first round of the 2023-2024 Battle of the Warriors, and this one goes to Wabash Valley with a 69-64 win. Kaleem Taylor went 6 of 12 from the field and had 6 rebounds with 2 block shots, finishing with 18 points, while Brandon Razor Moore went 5 of 14 from the field, but he had 5 rebounds and he finished with 15. The last Wabash Valley player in double digits was Lucas Henderson, finishing with 11 points and 6 rebounds. While on the flip side, the other Warrior team, Rend Lake, Keith Robinson was one of 4 Rend Lake players in double figures with 15. Justin King, and Reese Johnson each scored 12 points, and Justin Durham had 11. Now let's go ahead and jump into the Saturday games, but stay with Wabash Valley as they came back from a 37-31 halftime deficit to defeat Lincoln Trail 75-70 in Mount Carmel. Daniel Robinson had a game-high 22 points and led the Warriors shooting, going 8 of 14 from the field and had 6 rebounds and 4 assists, while Kaleem Taylor had 17 points, including 3 trays and 4 rebounds with 2 steals and 2 assists. Brandon Razor Moore scored 16 points off of a 7 for 13 night from the field and had 5 rebounds and 3 assists. Lincoln Trail was led by Devin Bell's 19 points. Shea Alouiers scored 16 for the Statesman, followed by 13 from Caden Huttenlocker and 11 points by Ollie Alford. Lakeland went into the dungeon looking for a win after the Vincennes loss, but the Blue Knights under acting head coach Joel Ledvina made sure it wasn't to be with a 97-62 beating of Lakeland. Tyler Chapman topped out Lakeland by scoring 24 points, while Sean Dekonovich scored 15 points and Cameron Thomas added 10. Damian Walkup led the charge for the Knights with 27 points off of a 10 for 14 shooting night. He also had 8 rebounds, while Darian Lewis went 6 of 12 from the floor and had 18 points with 5 rebounds as well. JT Thomas had 7 rebounds and a 5 of 8 shooting performance as he finished with 15, while Delshawn Sims added 10 points, but he had 5 assists. Both teams were looking to get back into the win column, and the Blue Devils were able to do it in overtime, 78-76. Trayvon Thomas led the way for the Saints with 19 points off of an 8 for 14 shooting night, adding 6 rebounds and 5 assists, while Miles Lemon was 7 of 10 from the floor, adding 14 points while grabbing 8 rebounds. Osiris Mara grabbed 6 boards and added 10 as well, while Kershawn Washington hit 2 threes and dished out 3 assists, finishing with 11. Caleb Jenkins paced the way for the Blue Devils with 22 points and 10 rebounds, shooting 7 of 13 from the field, while Will Vassar scored 17 and was 6 of 6 from the foul line, going 5 of 11 from the floor. And Isaiah Tobler had 13, including 3 trays with 6 rebounds, while Kamari Slaughter had 12 points and 8 rebounds and 5 assists for the Blue Devils of Kaskaskia. Well, this game lived up to the hype as Vincennes defended home court and pulled out a 87-80 win over the Logan Volunteers. The Blazers had 4 players in double figures, led by LeBron Thomas, who had a game-high 27 points while going 5 of 10 from the floor, an impressive 16 of 16 from the foul line. Chris King added 20 off of a 5 of 10 shooting night and had 4 assists. Michael Osei-Bonsu had his 6th double-double of the year, adding 12 points and 10 rebounds, while Kent King came off the bench as a spark for the Blazers, and he finished with 13 points and 3 steals. The Vols were down by as many as 14 points in the second half, and Julian Norris led the way for Logan with 20 points and 4 rebounds. Elliot Londas went 6 and 9 from the floor and had 11 blocks with 6 rebounds to lead all starters with 13 points, while Caden Hawkins went 5 of 7 and added 11 before fouling out. R.J. Walker and Alfred Worrell each had 10 points, with Worrell going 4 of 5 from the foul line and Walker dishing out 6 assists. And again, not a district game, but a very important game as Coach Harrington got his 900th win Saturday as SWIC beat Rend Lake 64-55. The Blue Storm were led by 3 players, each with 13 points: Dallas Rufus, Nazub Makeem, and Jacoby Huddleston. Huddleston led the way for the team in rebounds with 15 and went 6 of 10 from the field, while Rufus had 7 rebounds as well, and Makeem went 5 of 11 from the floor. Saxon Hopker had 12 defensive rebounds and finished with 13 rebounds overall. The Warriors' Justin King was an unstoppable force as he had 27 points off of a 10 for 17 shooting night and had 5 rebounds and 2 blocks, but the rest of the team didn't show up, and that's what led to the SWIC win. Well, my next guest on this week's podcast is a very special one. He is the second coach that I have had the pleasure to interview besides my own Coach Franklin last week. It is the acting head coach of the Olney Central Blue Knights, Joel Ledvina. Coach, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
So, Coach, we actually have a common acquaintance in Coach Christoph Kendrick. How did you know Coach Kendrick?
I worked with Coach Kendrick for 2 years at Western Michigan prior to coming here to Olney Central. He was assistant coach. I was the video guy, and we did a lot of partner up work on like advanced scouting and stuff like that.
Yeah. So, with that being said, you are also the grad assistant for Western Michigan. And then you, like you said, you mentioned you were the video coordinator as well. Compare that, what you did for Western Michigan, to what you're doing now for Olney.
It's a lot of the same. I mean, I got my start as a student manager back in the day. So, you do a little bit of everything in all of those roles. And in junior college, we obviously have a limited amount of resources, limited amount of people. So it's a lot of the same stuff, just with more of a voice in practice and in game planning and preparation and stuff like that.
Before getting your job at Olney, what was your JUCO knowledge?
I was vaguely familiar with JUCO. We had a couple junior college players while I was at Western Michigan. Squeaky Wilkins from Barton, Ralph Cruz from Triton, and then Jalen Holmes from Lincoln Trail. We're all JUCO guys while I was at Western Michigan that we had part of our program.
I mean, those guys, obviously a little bit before my time at Vincennes, but I mean, just what has been the atmosphere for you since becoming to Olney? I know the dungeon is always rocking. What are your plans, and how hungry are your team to get up to that next level the next 4 years?
I mean, I think we play in front of a great fan base. Our game day atmosphere is as good as any I've seen, any place we've been, if not better. We're very happy with the turnout we get, the excitement we get from our crowd, the rowdiness from our students and our band. We get a lot of support here, and it's great to see. It's great to have. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, like I said, coming from Vincennes, I always dreaded going to the dungeon. It's only a 30-minute drive, but I always knew once I saw Olney on the schedule that's always a tough game. I'm sure you feel the same way coming up here Saturday. You got Vincennes on the road, or they're at home. You're at home for that one.
That game, they're coming to our place on Saturday, so it should be a pretty fun environment. I expect it to be pretty darn full, if not at capacity. So, and we've had great crowds this year with our schedule, the teams we brought in. Our fans have been really excited. We played some of the best teams in the country, and Vincennes will be no different.
How hungry are your players to get that next opportunity to go to a 4-year school?
Oh, it's always on their mind. It's always on their mind. It's especially the sophomores. They're everybody's looking for they're wondering about their future. And I think that's natural. But we try to keep them focused on the here and now. We have goals as a team, and those goals will lead our team success will lead to their individual success as well, and helping them get to that next spot and to get to a place that they could be successful and contribute right away.
In the past, when you were at Western Michigan, did you ever go to Hutch as a scout?
No, as they have a limited number of people that you could put out on the road. So as a support staff member, I never got to travel to recruiting. It would have been a violation. Um, we watched it a lot as a staff. We would usually send a member from the staff out there in person. And then, that time of the year, the games are over unless you're in it's usually like the Sweet 16 or something. So we'd be in the office and, go back in the conference room, turn it on and watch the games and the guys that we were kind of evaluating at the time and see how they played. Obviously, it's something that I think everybody in junior college, you want to experience, you want to get there. It's something we talk about with our players all the time. That's the goal. That's our championship venue. If you want to be a champion in junior college, you got to get out to Hutchinson, Kansas.
And I mean, you guys are well on your way. You're 3-1 in the league. The biggest thing is that you are having to step up and be the acting head coach for Coach Glash. Without really going into the specifics, how has your team kind of taken that change?
Well, we always talk as a team about a next man up mentality. With our guys, there's going to be obstacles that you face throughout the year, whether it be tweaked ankle or foul trouble, where somebody that has less of a role has to step up and for whatever period of time it is, they have to step up and produce. So it's kind of the same thing, and luckily for me, Coach Glash has given me a voice ever since I've been here, to speak up in practice, to speak up in games. So it isn't the first time, that these guys have been yelled at me or yelled at by me in practice. So that definitely helps. But we're definitely it's definitely tough. You're a man down. I think we feel that right now, and we're just trying to battle through until Coach gets back.
Yeah, and let me just say, I wish Coach Glash the best of health. He's part of the Vincennes family, even though he was only there for a year. So when I heard that you were taking over, I mean, I'm like, that's great for him, but also I really hope that Coach is able to come back in this season and see them to their finish line.
Yeah, and I mean, Coach is still involved. I mean, we talked for about an hour on the phone today. He had some pointers for me of things that need to be corrected before we play again. So, Coach is resting up, but he's still heavily involved, and like I said, we're just buying some time until Coach gets healthy and gets back.
In the past couple of interviews with Coach Franklin, with Dave Hunter, I've mentioned that I feel that District 16, Central District, Region 24, whatever you want to call it, I've compared them best to the Big Ten when it comes to level of competition and the intensity that you see as a road team. If they're not the Big Ten Division One wise, what conference do you think you guys are most closely represented here?
I think the Big Ten, obviously, we're in the footprint of the Big Ten, especially, Southern Illinois, a lot of Illini down here. Funny thing is like, I spent 6 years in the MAC, and it's like a version of the MAC conference to me. The MAC conference is, a lot of people call that a miniature Big Ten, up where I'm from. And it's physical style of play, big bigs, quick guards, definitely a war in the half court. So and the MAC recruits a lot of junior college. So I think the toughness, the grit, it kind of feels like the MAC a little bit to me. It's kind of yeah, it's kind of how I haven't changed my perspective on like players and talent that much. I think it's very fair. I think the league sends a lot of kids to the mid-major level, and it's got that MAC, horizon. Where I'm from Michigan, so like we don't get much Valley basketball, whether it be the Missouri Valley or the Ohio Valley, but probably a little bit of that too. It's that mid-major, level of basketball, that tough, gritty, you got to bring it every night type, no easy nights type of feel.
This is your second year at Olney Central. Um, what was the tournament like in Ina last year?
Oh, the tournament was I mean it was a good environment, you know. It was fairly full. A lot of fans there. You know, it's about an hour and 45 minutes away from us, so we get a decent amount of fans that make the trip over. It's definitely obviously a good venue. I think Rend Lake puts on a good tournament. And there's a lot of college coaches there, especially day one. Um, so it was definitely it definitely had a tournament feel. Like as I experienced the MAC tournament. That it gets to that time of the year, it's definitely the tougher teams are going to win. The tougher teams are going to win. It's going to be more of a physical. You gotta play through contact. They're not going to call that first bump like they're going to let players play. And that's the type of basketball that everybody really enjoys. That's that fun, tough basketball. And let players decide who's going to win.
What has been the biggest growth for your players from last year to this year, especially the sophomores or the people that you have scouted probably previously and brought in this year?
I think we're still working on that. I think we're still trying to get to the level that we need to. The season's it's a journey. You start out, and sophomores are sophomores and freshmen are freshmen, and by the end, you hope that those sophomores are playing more like juniors and the freshmen are playing more like sophomores. So I don't know if we have like a specific thing that like anyone's grown into. I think that's what we're kind of battling through right now. It's pretty early on in league play, um, and we're still trying to find our identity. We're still trying to figure out everything and come together and guys proven like who could be consistent night in and night out. I think everybody in the league's kind of searching for that. Like who can bring it every night. That's kind of what we challenge our guys to do, not to take plays off, not to lose focus ever. Like at the end of the day, like the game's usually won by the team that makes less mistakes. Mistakes hurt you, mistakes cost you. And I think that's what we're trying to get to is just the level of focus that it's going to take to win a championship. That's probably what I'm asking my sophomores to do, or that we're asking our sophomores to do, is to 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 dial up the intensity, especially on the mental side. And the freshmen, just keep coming along, and probably those sophomores to help them, on their way. That we have a lot of experience, especially in our backcourt, coming back from last year, and those guys taking some of the younger guys under their wing and talking stuff through. Like sometimes coaches in general's voice, you know, it, at this time of the year, like everybody's a little sick of hearing, what your coaches got to say, and sometimes it's better coming from the players. As a Michigan native, one of the things, Tom Izzo always talks about is, a player coach team is better than a coach team. I kind of believe in that. That at the end of the day, like these guys have to hold themselves accountable and they have to take it on themselves, and you got to correct mistakes and you got to be, willing to listen to what your teammate has to say and not take it personal and get things fixed and talk through stuff in real time, which isn't always the easiest thing to do.
Going back to your game Saturday night, I broke it down a little bit, but it seems like Demarion Walk Up and Delshawn Sims has really taken those reins for you. Walk Up had 27 points, and Darian Lewis too.
Mm-hmm.
Those three, I think, are some of your better. And I mean, no disrespect to any of your guys, but those three had a big night Saturday, and it seems like every time I do this, I sit down to do the breakdown, I always mention one of those three, or if not all three of them. So just talk about what Walk Up, Thomas, Sims, and Lewis have been able to do.
I mean, I mean, everybody, it's funny. Like, I think that everybody on our team has let us. I think every guard in our rotation has led us in scoring. one game this year, whether it be the three that you guys named, or Jacoby Thompson, who comes off the bench for us. He's led us in scoring a couple nights. He was big down at Shawnee. He hit a big one late for us. Tough shot. Under a minute left. That kind of that one really propelled us on to the win. I think our greatest strength is that we have a lot of different players that can score. I think we got a lot of different players that can shoot the ball. And we're pretty unselfish. We really share it. There was a couple possessions against Lakeland where we got the ball from one side of the floor to the other side of the floor, back, guys passing up good shots for that great one more shot, like you swing it all the way around the top, and we have confidence in all our guys. We're in the gym every day, we're getting up shots, and guys see that, that they believe in each other. And it's not one person that's doing it for us. But all those guys you named, I mean, Lewis, Walk Up, Sims, like I said, Thompson, JT Thomas has led us in scoring. I know. We have a lot of contributors, and I think that we have a good group of guys that really trust in each other, and you see it, they're excited for one another. You see it on the bench, guys that are out there excited for their teammates. So I don't think it's just, any one guy, any combination of guys. I just really believe that on any given night, we can have anybody on our team can really step up and score the ball and make plays offensively. One of the things we're always challenge them to do is when your offense isn't going, what are you doing on the other end of the floor? Are you contributing in other ways? Are you defending at a high level? Are you rebounding at a high level? We have a great roster. We have a great group of guys, and very talented young men, and that put in the work, that put in the work.
Yeah, and like I said, Jacoby Thompson was another one that I really enjoyed watching. So let me go ahead and ask you this: where has been the best gym to play in the district besides your own, and what's your favorite road game so far?
Oh man. Last it's probably the same. Last year, call it, trying to think, it might have been our first or second road game. We were over at Lincoln Trail, and they had a great crowd. It was an intense game. Went to overtime, and I believe we won on a last second tip in. So that probably is my answer for both. That was a big win for us last year. And their fans were amazing. They were involved. They were loud. It was a great environment. It was a great game. And it was one we were lucky to get out of there with a win.
Your team has been in the top 25 here the last couple of weeks. You fell out this last polling. Hopefully you guys, we're recording this before the polls come out. You guys get back in there. I always love seeing the district succeed. And if it's not Logan, it's always seems to be Olney Central or SWIC. So again, you guys have, I've always had respect for the Olney Central program, whether it be Coach Glash, you, your predecessors before you. I know Coach Burris there. He was really big into getting them pumped up and ready to go. So I appreciate you taking the time here. And hopefully when this goes up, we're talking about Olney Central being in the top 20 next week.
Yeah, that'd be great. It's the polls are great. We're just trying to stay focused on one game at a time. Especially in league play. But yeah, it was nice, to get some recognition. Our schedule that we put together put us in a position to have that opportunity. And it was a schedule that really we tried to set up so that we were ready for league play. We played some of the top teams from, the area, kind of a 6-hour radius of who we could get. And, we felt like that schedule, if we handled business and won some of the big games against some really good teams and, get experience playing some teams that are probably going to be out in Hutch, like we talked about earlier, that it would set us up for success and kind of get our name out there on a national level.
Yeah, you guys got a tough week ahead of you. You got Logan on Wednesday night, and then, like we mentioned before, Vincennes on Saturday. 2 of the last 3 national champions, both of them at home for you guys. So very good luck in that.
We're actually at Logan.
Oh, you're at Logan, yeah.
Yeah, we got to go down there.
So that's always fun. That, like I said,
yeah, I mean, both those teams are really good. They're Logan and Vincennes aren't sneaking up on anybody. You're in for a battle. You're in for a war. 2 really well-coached teams, 2 really talented teams, and excited for the opportunity to go down there and compete against Logan, and then come home on Saturday and welcome Vincennes into the dungeon, and hopefully we have some real competitive games and show people what we're about.
Well, that again, Coach, I appreciate you taking the time, sitting down with me. And good luck this week. Good luck the rest of the season. And pass along the special message, Coach Glash, that I hope he gets better.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Thanks, Coach. Boy, 10 games in 2 days. That's a full week of basketball. And let's go ahead and do that all over again, but add one as we have a game Monday night, Logan against Rend Lake. I think the Vols are going to bounce back from that 87-80 loss against Vincennes and completely destroy Rend Lake. Nothing against the Warriors of Rend Lake. I just think that Logan, they've knocked off the rust, first of all. Second of all, they've had a gauntlet of a schedule, so that 7-8 record that they have is completely confusing. Third of all, I just think that Coach Tyler Smith-Peters is going to have them focused and locked in, ready to play. Not saying that Rend Lake's coach isn't. I just think that Logan has too much talent not to pull out a victory here against the Warriors. And they're going to have to, because they have an even bigger game Wednesday night as Olney comes into town and Coach Joel Ledvina comes in 2-0. Does he get his 3rd win? Unfortunately, I don't think so. I think this is going to be one of these games where it's going to come down to the last 3 minutes. And, I mean, he could. Both teams are very talented. Logan, I think, just has a little bit more in depth. They played a little bit harder scheduled, and that's nothing against Olney. Like I said, I loved the fact that Coach Ledvina came in here and sat down with me, took time out of his busy schedule. He's next man up mentality for him, and he's an awesome dude. So I have all the respect for him. And like I said, I think this game is going to be really, really close. I think this is going to be a repeat of Logan versus Vincennes. I just think that Logan is going to come out on top this time. Would I be surprised if Olney comes in and beats him? No, because Olney did it last year. Well, no, they didn't. They did it 2 years ago, and so that wouldn't surprise me if Olney beats them. But I just don't think that just the strength of schedule is going to lean more towards Logan. Again, Logan's a scary good 7-8 team. The next game on Wednesday is going to be Lakeland against Wabash Valley. Lakeland coming off of 2 tough losses to Vincennes and Olney both, while Wabash picks up a tough win against Lincoln Trail. Who has the advantage here? I think it's going to go to maybe Lakeland. They're the home team. I love that arena. The atmosphere there's awesome. Nothing against Mount Carmel, but I just like that domed arena more for Lakeland. They turn out the lights to get the starters. It's amazing. The gameplay, too, is going to be one of those things that I think what Coach Ledvina said is going to be sophomores are going to start to play like juniors here, and juniors are going to play, or freshmen are going to play like sophomores. The amount of games Lakeland's played is going to be to their advantage here, unfortunately, and that's no fault of Wabash Valley. The fact that they've only played 11 games, 4 of their games got canceled on them, so that's nothing against them, but I do think that leans more in Lakeland's favor. Again, this is another toss-up. Wabash can come in and will play hard. They always play hard, so I could see them pulling out a win. I just don't think so. I think 3 straight losses for Lakeland is abnormally, and unfortunately, Wabash, I don't see it happening. The next game, Kaskaskia against Lincoln Trail. At Trail, this is Coach's favorite place not to play. That's the dungeon. Against Kaskaskia, who's coming off of a tough win against Shawnee in overtime. Second time they've gone to extra time here. Second time it's come down to the buzzer. And I think that's going to help Kaskaskia and the Blue Devils pull out the win here against Lincoln Trail. Trail is unfortunately going to fall to 0-for-5 in the district play. Really not like Lincoln Trail, honestly. This seems a little bit off, just a touch, and I don't know where it's at. They play hard, they play smart, but they're just not getting the results, and unfortunately, I think that's going to continue on Wednesday against Kaskaskia. Vincennes plays SWIC in Belleville. Vincennes struggles against SWIC in Belleville. Most of the time, the 2 times I was there as a manager and last year, Vincennes did not play well. Now, when I was there as a manager, we picked up the wins. Vincennes lost last time they went to Belleville, only scoring 55 points. Caveat. Coach Franklin mentioned in his post-game interview with Dave Hunter that they had opportunities to win that ball game. They just didn't execute. I think he's going to harp on it a lot in practice, and they might execute a little bit better this week. So, especially after that Logan game where they lost composure. They didn't lose composure, they just lost focus and allowed Logan to come back and tie it with 10 minutes to play. And then before pulling out the win at home. With all that being said, give me Vincennes. I think it's just going to be a very good game, a very close game. And this one is, again, not a district game, but it is a GRAC game. Shawnee against Rend Lake. And I will give this to the Saints. I'm seeing more and more of Rend Lake. And the more and more I see is you stop Justin King, you stop the Warriors. It's that simple. I think Coach Sparks is going to be able to do that on Wednesday night, and that they are going to be able to pull out a win against Rend Lake, their first win in conference play. So I give that to the Saints of Shawnee. Let's go ahead and jump into the Saturday games. Logan against Lakeland. This is going to be Logan. No ifs, ands, or buts, especially if Logan loses to Olney. Logan's going to go in, and Logan is going to dominate the boards, dominate the assist, just like Vincennes did against Lakeland. I'm going to give this to Logan. End of discussion, period. Wabash and Kaskaskia is going to be a very good game because even though Wabash doesn't have the amount of games, Kaskaskia doesn't have the strength of schedule that Wabash has with their 14-13 wins. So with that being said, I think this is going to come down to the buzzer again, this time in Mount Carmel, and I'm going to give it to Wabash Valley. Let's go ahead and jump into the SWIC at Shawnee game. I think Coach Harrington is, with his 900th win, is going to just outcoach Coach Sparks, unfortunately. And I think it's just going to be the fact that Coach Sparks, his team is going to be in a battle against Rend Lake, and their legs might be tired come Saturday. And SWIC, while they're going to battle against Vincennes, SWIC likes to slow the game down and save their legs. It might be a Shawnee win, and I hope it is. I think that, especially since I'm giving the win to Vincennes on Wednesday night, I think Coach Harrington is going to have them ready to play on Saturday. Now, let's go ahead and jump into the non-district game, and that's Lincoln Trail against Rend Lake. I'm going to give this to Trail. I think they're going to pick up the win, but I don't think it's going to be a pretty win for Lincoln Trail. They'll finally end their skid that they're currently on. I think, who is it, Hayden Locker? I think he's going to have a heck of a game. And I think they will beat Rend Lake because, again, you stop Justin King, you win the ball game. And I think that Lincoln Trail can do that. Now, on to the marquee matchup. I think this is going to be against two ranked teams, Olney Central and Vincennes. Yes, I saved this on last on purpose. Because, like I said, Vincennes against Olney, it's always a good game. I have tremendous respect for Coach Ledvina, Coach Glash, and everybody over there at Olney. With that being said, Vincennes is going to win this ball game. I think Coach Franklin is just going to have his guys so focused in, so dialed in, so ready to go, that once they get off that bus from that 30-minute drive into Illinois, they're going to come out like gangbusters. They're going to silence the dungeon, and they're going to win by 10 to 15 points. Now, with all that being said, they're going to have to play well. This is not going to be an easy game for the Blazers. Demarion Walkup and Darian Lewis are going to be a challenge for the Blazers. Same way that LeBron Thomas is going to be a challenge for the Blue Knights. These teams are very well matched together. I just think that with Vincennes' strength of schedule, the fact that they played a lot of good ranked, or if not ranked teams, very good teams preseason, that's going to give them the edge. But that's just my thoughts on this week's slate of games. That's going to do it for this week's episode, everybody. Again, thanks so much to Coach Joel Ledvina and the Olney Central Blue Knights for sitting down with me and talking with me. Until then, I will see you in the next one.